My life before coming into recovery was pretty hectic. To be fair, it was an unhealthy lifestyle. I was going from one crack den to another, constantly using, shoplifting, committing crimes. Just a very unhealthy life, to be honest, unhealthy relationships.
Yeah, before I came into treatment, yeah, my life was horrendous really. Isolated.
No life at all, just on my settee, getting up to go off licence and then back on the settee. Just weren't bothering, weren't bathing, just weren't doing anything. Just drinking myself to death.
So chaos really. A lot of chaos from a young age, a lot of abuse.
I used to be a solicitor, used to have wife, kids, lost everything as a result of my addiction.
It was about 4 years ago now, where I was just getting stressed out at work in a warehouse, and my drinking just got worse and worse until I was just drinking daily, coming into work in the morning drinking. I eventually lost the job, and that was where it just went downhill from then on, because now I've got all this free time on my hands, so I'm just drinking more and more. And it wasn't until I'd lost the job and then I didn't have money to afford to drink that I realised that I'm in a bad place here, because that's when I realised, the shaking, the withdrawals, and my mood swings, the anger and all that, and people falling out around me, and it just went worse and worse until eventually I didn't even have nowhere to live.
I hit rock bottom. I were homeless. I moved into an homeless hostel. My drinking got from more. I just didn't care how I looked. I just didn't want to be here.
Getting into trouble, getting into fights, ambulances phoned out for me because of accidents, or my heart basically having heart attacks sometimes. It was that bad.
I just hit rock bottom completely. And I was drinking neat vodka every day. Then I went on to black lager cans. I went to 6.5 stone. Didn't eat, I didn't wash, didn't do anything, just beer, constantly, day in, day out. If I had no money at night, I'd fret all night, stay awake, thinking, God, where am I going to get my beer from? I were a mess. I was 6 stone, £3.
My life, it was just non-existent. And when I did go out, I ended up in trouble that usually led me to jail.
Just a vicious circle, just couldn't get out of.
It's a chaotic lifestyle for a long time. I was using for a long time. I'd been in it for, God knows, all my life really. So, myself first, and obviously my kids and my family, and it got to that stage where there was no chaos anymore. It was just isolating for years on my own, sat in the same stuff every day.
I was gonna die. I got pneumonia twice when I lived on streets, drinking.
And I just got worse and worse, just living in these arches at some point in Hardwick. But there was people behind, like people were falling out of me. I just felt like I was on my own, lonely and all that. Everyone had fallen out with me and washed their hands of me. And but in the background, there obviously was people that was concerned about me, because I was getting phone calls of certain friends.
Got a little boy who's 7 months next week, and I've got another little boy who's 5 months next week. 5 years old next week. So they would played a big part in it, but also for myself. I was sick of living that life, just unhappy and angry.
There was one friend called Gail who introduced me to, told me to go to the booth centre. So I eventually did pluck up the courage, do you know what I mean? And I did go there, and there was this lovely girl, she only looked really young, called Louise in there.
Just at the end, and my tethering, I came seeing one of the gentlemen who work here, called Derek, on a private basis actually, and it was him who recommended. Said you need help, you're not going to do this on your own.
Enough was enough. I'd just had enough. It was just getting out of. I needed the detox, and I couldn't get the detox. It was just that getting out of the withdrawals, getting out of the body withdrawals. So.
And something needed to change. And I went ramp. I'd done ramp a few times, and the last time I'd done it, I went ramp, and then my key worker at CGL said that he thinks that rehab would be good for me.
I was just at the end of everything, lost everything. Lost absolutely everything. I had nowhere else to turn. My mum and dad were at the end of the tether with me. Kids weren't really speaking to me by that point. Lost my job, lost my career, lost my house. Couldn't really go any lower. That didn't stop me. Carrying on, eating, drinking, despite the consequences.
Ended up breaking my knee. Ended up in hospital again because of drinking.
It was a blessing in disguise actually, because I got unwell, so I ended up in hospital. So I got my detox in hospital.
On the bright side of things, they detoxed me in hospital. So I was ready for the rehab, which was coming up. So, and that was where I started, coming into rehab.
I was desperate, and I'd asked her, and I just kept on asking her. It took me a while to get in. It did take me a while. But yeah, she agreed. And
I didn't come straight into treatment. I did do 9 months before, but I did need treatment, definitely.
I had to wait a long time. About 2 years I had to wait for this place.
And I waited 3 years to come into rehab. And I've been here 16 weeks today.
I don't think I would have got much further if I hadn't had treatment.
When I come into Acorn, that's when it all was just absolutely brilliant. I mean, it was a bit frightening coming in. I was a nervous wreck. I was quiet, didn't know what to expect. It was like I was just like a child coming into a new big school again and didn't know anyone, and everything was just really frightening.
Scary. Really scary. Yeah, I didn't think I'd have done it every day because I was still poorly. It was a challenge for me, and I just had to take it day by day.
Intense at first, well, all the way through, but very rewarding. A lot of emotions, because you don't have them when you're off your box, do you? So yeah, I've made the decision 3 years ago, but I couldn't get into rehab for 3 years. It took 3 years to get where I am now. So yeah, and I got pneumonia twice last year, so I nearly died anyway.
Intense. Struggled at first, but I just put all my heart into all my work. Do you know what I mean? Every piece of work I did, I just put my heart in it.
Yeah, it's the best thing I've done really, but it's intense. But I definitely needed it. Yeah, to get where I am now.
When I turned up, I was shitting myself, basically. I was absolutely shitting it, because it was all new, I was frightened to death, didn't know what I was doing, but yeah, so I was scared, yeah.
I arrived on the 19th of April, and when you arrive at these places, first thing you do is you take you into a room and you start filling forms. So I'd not even started, I was all filling forms, and as I'm filling the form in, unbeknown to me, there was a counsellor called John Flanagan. I didn't know he was even a counsellor. So I'm filling the form, you're terrified, I don't care what anyone says, you're terrified that day one. And he turns around to me and says, because he did like him, he used to be a solicitor, he said, why are you not a solicitor? I said, oh, I lost my job because of alcohol, because of cocaine. He went, no you didn't, you lost your job. I thought, I've not even filled the form in here. So, an hour after that, I go into a group, and the other counsellor was Karen. And she was absolutely lambasting this lad. about honesty. He'd lied in something to do with his weekend plans. So this is the second hour now. And so I'd learned, I didn't realise it at the time, but I learned on within the first 2 hours, accept responsibility for your own actions and the importance of honesty. That's the first 2 hours. I had them 2 counsellors then for the next 12 weeks. So you can imagine what I learned.
I tell you what had a massive impact when I had to do the eulogy. Yeah, it was pretty shocking that. It really, I properly connected with it, and to be in my son's shoes, doing my funeral, yeah, horrible. So that was a massive impact on me. Just the realisation of what it would have been like, yeah.
They get to the root of the problem. They sort of like strip you down and build you back up. It's harsh. It's one of the hardest things I've had to do in my life. Like talk about your life story. People are didn't think there'd be so many people in the same situation as me, but it's a big thing in it for people.
The work around my dad, I think. The letters to my dad and stuff like that. Used to manipulate me and stuff. It took me a long time to recognise it, but I recognised it and now we don't speak. Which is quite hard, but I'm used to it now.
I'd say my letters to my children. Just, like, I thought I was a good mum because I give them stuff, but it made me realise that I wasn't there for them, do you know, emotionally and things like that. But it makes you realise, you know, like what you've been like and what you've not done, you know, and how bad that you were, do you know.
Definitely life story. I'm learning so much about myself, all the things you don't know. You know, but you don't till yeah, my life story and all the letters and stuff like that.
I think it is the people as well, the realisation that, you know, when you hear things in the meetings and all that, and it's like, I used to do that. You know, like hiding bottles of whiskey down my pants and it's like falling down your pants. And I hear other people saying the same thing and I thought, wow, that was me. I did the same thing. You know, coming out of things, because when you're in the addiction and when you're like that and you're lying and cheating and manipulating and doing all these things, you think it's just you. But you don't realise other people, you know, you're just going through the motions of addiction. That's what it does. It's not your decision, it's not your choice. And when you and that's what it was with me. When I hear other people who have been there and done the same things what I have, and I'd even go as far as to say some of these people in addiction have been the best friends I've ever met.
Group work. Can't explain it. People say, you know what goes on in these places because everyone's interested. So we sit in a room and we all talk and we all give each other feedback. They all look at you like, well, how does that help you? And I can't explain it, but it's like magic. So you all talk in this room, you all give each other feedback and the counsellors are there, you know, telling you that you've terrified your kids, and it doesn't sink in at first. It didn't sink in for me anyway. It's only when I used to walk away and go back to Rosemary Court and start thinking about it, and then you start talking about it. So you're in the group and then you go and live with the same group. So it was the group work, and that group work continues whether I go to NA and AA now. Something happens in them rooms that I can't put my finger on it.
To be able to speak, because I was one of these people, and I probably still am sometimes, where I don't get listened to, do you know what I mean? I'm like always like in the background when I say things, or you know, if there's a group of people, I'm always like out of the circle. So I'm not used to speaking about myself and you know, and being listened to. So that was a massive change for me. It's probably the first time in my life, and there's been a lot of first times.
Life story and my letters to my abusers were the best because I burnt them. So, and my life story, once I got that out, it took me about a week for the emotions of having nightmares and stuff. And yeah, I felt better. I felt more better when I did the letters to the abusers. I felt better when I burnt them, to be honest. I felt relieved straight away. Yeah.
To be honest, all of them, but my letters mostly, I think. The letters to my son who's been adopted out, and the letters to my dad and stuff like that. I think they was more the biggest ones for me. Biggest impact anyway, emotionally. I think because obviously it was a healing process, so doing that kind of healed me. Or learnt me to manage, like, you know, them traumas, but not being too scared to cry or stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, life story was hard, but needed to be done. Yes, I got a lot out of that. I got a lot of issues sorted that I buried. So yeah, I think that was the biggest thing, life story.
The toe tag exercise was where we had to pretend that you died, or you know, like you was dead, and who was the one which one of your family was, or friends or whoever was going to be the one to find you and to, you know, and mine was my 2 kids on my toe tag. And yeah, it's really scary because you're looking at yourself dead. You know, you're imagining yourself dead and what your kids, and then you have to write a eulogy. And mine was from my daughter and my son, and yeah, it's pretty emotional. It's emotional.
I've written a letter to me addiction. I was like talking about the addiction like it was a thing, like a person, and it was taking my life away from me. It was making decisions for me. There's things that I didn't want to do, but the addiction was pecking at me, and eventually I just beat it in the end.
The reflective letters by Country Mail. So reflective letters are letters you write to my children, to parents, to my ex-wife, but also to yourself and also to your addiction. I've kept them letters. I worked hard on those letters, and it's just a reminder of why you're here and why you've got to continue the work they've put in place. Those are the things that turned it for me. The things that all of a sudden it started to click after those reflective letters. Why am I? I know they say do it for yourself. You know, in part it's true, but you also do it for the other people who help you get your children, your mum and dad, people like that. Make them proud again. But it was them letters that made you think, oh my God, what have I put them all through? I didn't know I'd put them through. I did. Maybe didn't want to accept it, but it was pointed out to me in no uncertain terms I would terrify my kids, my mum and dad. And these reflective letters said that. So I've kept them. And if ever I'm feeling down or ever I'm feeling, you know, is this all worth it, I read them. And it kind of acts as a reminder to say, this is why you're doing it. This is what it was like before. And so if you've got any thought of going back to the madness, this is what you put them people through. The people who stood by you, really.
Treatment's one of the best things I've ever done. Even though it's been emotionally draining, upsetting, but it's been very, very rewarding for me. Probably for everybody else.
So for the future, just to carry on as I'm doing, you know, I know it's going to be hard, but you know, my hopes are to just live a normal life, you know, drug-free. The relationship with my kids and my grandkids, you know, you can't beat that feeling when you're sober, when you're drug-free. So my hopes for the future, and just to plod along and just be happy, you know.
I'm hoping to work in support, hoping to support other people. I'm doing the level 2 counselling now. I'm just going to do as many courses as I can around addiction, because I'd like to do something around it, just to you know, help other people. Yeah, going through what I went through.
DV courses. I'm in STAR at the minute, but I only attend that once a week. I go to Contact twice a week with my son, and then obviously I just spend time reading my NA book and going to NA meetings.
So I do a bit of drama, do a drama class, I do combi learning, I'm doing a couple of groups, I go to meetings, so I'm doing stuff.
I want to do my counselling. I was going to go to college, do my level 3, and then I might go to uni, I think, to do my counselling. Just to be a drug counsellor. I don't want to be a counsellor here, but I want to be a drug counsellor. So it'd be good just to get something under my belt, because I've never really done anything.
Become a volunteer in this line of work, in recovery, and just get a good relationship with my children again, so they're coming to see me and I'm going to see them. And I just want to work in this field of addiction and recovery. Yeah. I used to be a care worker for 22 years in a care home, you see. So, yeah, that's what I want.
Now I'm getting into the training side of things, of the counselling. I've done the combination learning, which I really enjoyed doing. That's quite deep itself. It's like all the psychological things and all that. It's really interesting. I'm actually at the moment I'm just finishing it this week, the peer mentoring side of things. So I'm hoping to get involved in that a lot more. I also volunteer with a counsellor here, Sue. I volunteer with her doing the STAR treatment, another treatment after the core, what you do after that, the relapse prevention and all of this kind of thing. So I'm volunteering, so I'm hoping to get into this and to be able to give, that back, give something back the way people have been with me. All the people that have helped me down the line.
I'm working, just casually working. I've carried on doing combination learning with D.E.A.P. I'm doing it today. With the hope maybe, I could just see the benefit. I've never seen the benefit of counselling prior. I wish I'd done it years ago, but the benefit of counselling, how counselling has benefited me, the people here who've benefited me. It's something that interests me, so I'm hoping that's the way forward. Put something back. Give back what, something to enjoy, something that can see benefits everybody. So that'll be the plan. Got my kids back, see them every week or every other week. Mum and Dad no longer have to hide alcohol or wonder where I'm going. If I'm going to the shop for cigs, they don't think I'm going to the shop for a bottle of finger. Don't have to search my room looking for blood.
And I've got my children back in my life. My daughter didn't speak to me for 11 years, and she's back in my life now, and we're getting a relationship back together. My son's always stood by me. They're adults now, they're 26 and 27, there's only 16 months between them, so yeah, so they're really proud of me.
Brilliant, excellent, better than ever. And I've started noticing it. I thought I had a good relationship, but since these last few months, I've noticed it's just gone better, loads better.
Belt bridges, prior to me coming in here, my mum and dad threw me out. Now that was low now, because I thought my mum would stick by me for everything, and she had, mum and dad, and I hit home that. Because I'd say part of it is to get pride back. My mum and dad used to be proud of me. My kids used to be proud of me. No, not what I did, and I had a house, not. So used to be proud of me, and I'd lost all of that, lost it all. So it's the restoration of pride, I suppose.
My mum now, because of me doing this, she's really proud of me and what I've been through. And people are my aunties, my uncles text me and say, well done, we're really proud of you and all that. And it's absolutely brilliant. Everything's changed, everything's just turned around. I'm looking after myself a lot better now. People are just treating me a lot better, listening to me, involved more. My confidence has gone sky high, but a lot better than what it was. I'm not hiding away no more.
Yeah, my family, it's with my sister. I've got a relationship back with my sisters, my kids. It's not 100%, but a million times better than what it was 7 months ago.
Thank yous. I'd just like to say thank you to everybody at Acorn. The people who I have been in treatment with. John Flanagan was absolutely brilliant. Not at the first day, it was hard work.
I just want to say a big thank you to my recovery mum, Michelle, the caretaker at Rosemary House, and Helen. And a special big thank you to John Flanagan.
I'd like to say thank you to my turning point worker, Andrea, Kid, Karen especially, for pushing all my buttons. And I'd like to thank Michelle for everything she's done for me and all the support she gave me while actually being at home.
And my family, because without my family behind me, I don't think I'd have stuck it out. But yeah, I'd like to thank everybody.
Karen and John, especially Karen. And all my peers that I went through Acorn with.
Amy, me and Kat, who've really helped me, probably even saved my life, really. Kelvin come and pick me up from my mum's. Thank you to my mum as well for having me back in her life.
I've got to thank obviously my mum and dad for sticking by me, and a lot of elderly people would have given up on me. I've got to thank my children, and then when I get to Acorn, all the help they've offered, the staff, whether that's Karen, John, Lisa and Sue, the counsellors, but also people like Kelvin, Els Bells, who's a volunteer, and also my caretaker, Michelle.
Yeah, I just want to thank my family for support and still being with me through this, and thank everyone in Acorn. I'm a completely different person now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks. Yeah, we did, yeah.
I do.
Yeah. Go on, you can go.
Is that it now?